think we're in for a wild ride on funding about legal issues and legal settlements. I think we're
It's related to the transparency.
It's related to transparency. I think we could be in that. That has the potential. I'd make no predictions because you get those people in a room, and God Himself is the one who knows what happens. But I think there's potential for that to be the biggest thing that goes down at the Southern Baptist Convention in the last 10 years.
Legal. You're talking about the executive committee.
Executive committee funding legal settlements. There is a proposal to take that out of the budget this year, and the argument is sort of, hey, we've made these decisions. We're going to have to pay the piper, and I'm not sure that argument is going to be received well.
I think that the executive committee is requesting $3 million of cooperative program money.
That's correct.
Is that right? Yeah.
It might be a little more than that, but it's $3-ish million. And I think I'll say it this way: if that is not absolutely explosive, I will be shocked.
How did we get there?
Okay. How did we get there? Okay, so we got there because we got there at a confluence of several different things going back several years. So we got there because of public revelations of sexual abuse that were connected to the Southern Baptist Convention. I say connected to the Southern Baptist Convention because all the allegations were not created equal. There were some, you got the Houston Chronicle that did their reporting years ago, and there was something like 700 cases of sexual abuse. And every single one of those cases are important. Nobody ever thought they were unimportant. It's just that they were unequal. So some of those cases happened inside churches. Some of those cases happened with people who had been pastors. Some of those cases happened with people who were connected with churches, but it didn't happen in the churches. Some of those cases were alleged to have been part of a cover-up at HQ, at the Southern Baptist Convention headquarters and the executive committee. And so what you did was you had just this addition, this multiplication of story after story after story that got to 700, but it wasn't all created equal. Well, because Southern Baptists love Jesus, because they love the Bible, because they love righteousness, and because Southern Baptists want to be sure their kids are safe. They showed up at meeting after meeting, and they said, we want full exposure of what has gone on. We want full disclosure of what happened. If anybody did anything wrong, we want to know about it. If there was a cover-up, we want to know about it. And it was in the midst of making those decisions that we got into a complicated spot. And so people said things on the record and publicly that they should not have said. They were ill-advised statements. We entered into settlements, legal settlements, financial settlements with people that are disputed and debated. There were legal disclosures and indemnification of liability that didn't have. There were just all sorts of things that happened, and what took place is that the good desire on the part of Southern Baptist to be clear and open and honest and safe and above reproach led to multiple millions of dollars of expenses that have now come due. And not all of those expenses were equally wise. Not all of those expenses were done with the lights on. Not all of those expenses were made transparently, and so there's a lot of debate. Let me just give one debate. We're independent, local, autonomous churches. Most churches don't want to pay the legal bills for a problem that happened in another church. We don't at First Baptist Jacksonville, we don't want to pay the legal bills for a church that did something stupid in Milwaukee that we had nothing to do with. We made none of those decisions. We had nothing to do with that. We're giving our money to the cooperative program to pay for missionaries and theological training and that kind of thing. And so there's going to be distaste about paying millions of dollars of unwise money. I think most Southern Baptists will pay whatever it takes to be legitimately safe, to be legitimately transparent, will pay money that is legitimately owed. But that's where the debate is going to be. That's where the issue is going to be. And if it were me, I would not tell Southern Baptists this $3 million and you're just going to have to choke on it. I would not make that case. As a matter of fact,
Well, they've already spent 15.
50, yeah, whatever it
million.
is.
Yeah,
We'll never
yeah,
know.
well,
but yeah, they've spent a lot.
That's, yeah.
And if it were me, so a couple things are true. One thing that is true is no organization, not First Baptist Jacksonville, not the Southern Baptist Convention, no organization can exist without paying some legal expenses. If every single person who gives to First Baptist Church said, I want none of my money going to pay lawyers, we would go out of business because you cannot function in this society without paying some kind of legal fees. It's true for First Baptist Jacksonville. It's true for anybody who's listening wherever you work. It's true for the Southern Baptist Convention. Reasonable people know we're going to have to pay some legal fees. But I'll just talk personally, my stewardship as the senior pastor at First Baptist Jacksonville is to ensure that our people know that, hey, we got to pay some legal fees, but I'm not asking them to choke back and pay stupid legal fees. They need to know, like, hey, we're paying these legal fees. We're doing that well. We're doing that wisely. We're doing that under advisement. And I think what would be the best thing to do is for those with responsibility to say, listen, let us tell you some of the lessons we learned. We listened to people who weren't our friends. We listened to people who were out for our destruction, and they were masquerading as being our friends, but they were out for our destruction. We disobeyed legal advice and exposed ourselves to unbelievable legal liability that was unwise. Here are the lessons we've learned, and we are standing before you saying we are sorry for that, and we will not do it again. And now we're asking you for your help. Would you please help us pay the bills on these things that we did, and it is not going to happen again. Here's where we think this is going. Here's what we think is coming due. It's this transparency issue. I think if there was that kind of humble transparency, I think most Southern Baptists would go, fine, I'll do it. Without it, I think we're in for a wild ride.